As we approach our 125th anniversary, I've had the opportunity to reflect. And one of the questions I've been asking myself is if Dave Lennox were to walk through the door, or D.W. Norris, the businessman who bought it from Lennox Company from Dave, were to walk through our door, what would they see? What would they recognize? What would be the same? And there are things that would certainly be different if they visited our India Technology Center or they visited our development center here in Carrollton or one of our large factories. None of that would look the same. What would look the same is that they saw a poster on the wall on our code of conduct. Talked about integrity, respect, excellence. That would resonate with them. They built a company on those three fundamental beliefs. Many things have changed over 125 years. The fundamental building blocks of what has always made Lennox, Lennox has remained the same. And I'd like to think if Dave Lennox walked into my office, he'd feel at home.
He had a genius for mechanics, the go-to problem solver for area farmers, tradesmen, and manufacturers. He was a curious newspaperman who fell into the biggest story of his life. Together, their bond became a household brand.
They were business associates in the Marshalltown community in the center of Iowa. DW bought it from Dave Lennox when it was quite a small company, and it just started from there. DW made the decision to not use the family name on the furnace and asked Dave if it was all right if we used his name, because it was his product to start with.
Businessman D.W. Norris handled the management end of the operation, leaving the product development to his son, John.
Well, he was on the financial side. My father was the one who generated the innovations on the product side. DW's contribution was to, first of all, let his son do the innovating, and secondly, to act as a constraint or at least a critical audience on whether the innovations were marketable and proper for the industry. He was a mechanical engineer, a creative genius. He just always was thinking of a better way to do everything. His product innovation drove a lot of growth in Lennox.
Dave Lennox introduced the first riveted steel furnace in 1895, which was the company's primary product for nearly 40 years. In 1935, building upon a heritage of innovation, Lennox introduced the first forced air furnace. At the same time, Lennox also began holding dealer training classes, which is a forerunner of today's industry-leading dealer support programs. And by the end of the 1930s, Lennox had grown to become the largest manufacturer of forced warm air heating systems globally. As the company grew, there were unexpected challenges along the way. During World War II, Lennox halted the production of its furnaces and rapidly retooled all operations to support the war effort.
We made flaps for B-17s, fuel tanks for combat tanks, and all that business had to be dug out of the woodwork and managed. And during World War II, Lennox and the people on their team just scrambled like hell to keep the factories running. And it's a challenge that I can't visualize, but it was really important.
After World War II, Lennox emerged even stronger and positioned itself for decades of growth. Lennox launched its first national advertising campaign in 1949. The campaign was a huge success, followed by a second campaign that introduced customers to the new animated character, Lenny Lennox. Product innovations and market expansion followed. Through the 1950s and 1960s, Lennox added residential air conditioning and commercial equipment to its growing product portfolio.
So in the 1950s, we started to build a product focused on commercial applications. In the 70s, we built a factory that was focused on building commercial products in Stuttgart, Arkansas. In the 90s, we started to win some pretty major national accounts and so started to really focus as a standalone business unit on the commercial market. And then we acquired National Account Services, or NAS, in the early 2000s, which really reinforced our focus on national accounts.
Why live in fear of sky-high summer cooling bills? Move up with Dave Lennox to the Power Saver air conditioner.
The 1970s saw the introduction of Dave Lennox in the company's marketing campaigns, First, as part of the 1972 Nifty Weather Machine campaign with the tagline,
Attaboy, Dave.
Attaboy, Dave.
Attaboy, Dave.
To meet the growing need of our products, Lennox expanded its manufacturing footprint and focused its innovation efforts by consolidating research and development to a new facility in Carrollton, Texas. Over time, Lennox grew internationally and added additional business units, further expanding its reach with the additions of Heatcraft, Advanced Distributor Products, and Allied Air Enterprises.
We do business really throughout Europe. It's called EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Lennox is the leading provider in Europe of rooftop products. That gives us a tremendous footprint. It's a part of the company that perhaps many don't know much about, but the one thing I can tell you is that the commitment of those employees in Europe to their customers and to Lennox is as strong as it is here in the U.S.
Lennox was quickly growing into a global company and needed to be headquartered in a major metropolitan area with access to international markets. In 1978, Lennox relocated its headquarters from Marshalltown, Iowa to Dallas, Texas.
Moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area really unlocked some potential for Lennox to get more deeply involved in the international marketplaces.
I think that we've done a magnificent job of growing Dallas, but keeping our roots still in Marshalltown. We still have the factory, we have a museum up there, and so we still know where it was when they started it, but yet I think today having this Dallas base has done as well.
At the dawn of the new century, Lennox International completed an initial public offering, ringing the opening bell on Wall Street on July 28, 1999, and moved from being a family-owned business to a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. In the early 2000s, Lennox expanded its retail sales and service operations to over 200 retail locations across North America and extended its global manufacturing footprint with new greenfield factories for residential heating and cooling products in Saltillo, Mexico. In 2010, the Lennox India Technology Center was created as a global R&D center of excellence that today focuses on delivering the highest levels of innovation and quality delivered at the lowest cost.
We've transitioned to a true multinational company with very, very high performance standards ourselves, while still retaining that charm and that commitment to our customer base that was the essence of what was built from Dave Lennox through the Norris family in the private years until now.
When D.W. Norris purchased Lennox in 1904, he also gained a distribution structure that would come to define and differentiate Lennox.
D.W. once said, give me the best salesman, he'll give me the best dealer, and he'll give me the most business. And my father bought that lock, stock, and barrel. There's no question about it. The distribution system through the independent contractor was essential to the success of the business.
So our company has been a Lennox dealer since 1947.
We've been a dealer since 1969.
We've been a Lennox dealer since 1978.
We've been a Lennox dealer for a little over 30 years now.
We have been a Lennox dealer at Fritz Heating and Cooling since 1981.
If you've got a problem, call Dave.
Or call Fritz Heating and Cooling.
You get to know the owners of these companies, and over time you get to know their family, and you get to see the generations come through.
Our dealers trust us. They know that we are 100% focused on enabling their business. We know them personally, so they know they can get in touch with us and that we listen to them and that we respond.
I think one of the things that makes Lennox unique versus our competitors is our focus on selling directly to dealers. I think that allows you to know them, to understand them, but equally important is they get to know you, and they get to be able to build a rapport with us as a company.
I'm proud of the family history that we have with Lennox. They were good to my grandfather, and I know they were good to my dad, and now they're good for my husband and I.
Nowadays, you still got great relationships with them. I've been on a lot of trips, know all of the head guys at Lennox, and they're not management to us. They're more family or good friends. Even through this pandemic, we've talked on the phone, texting, just, hey, how's you and your family?
I know I have their support, but I also know that they have an interest in our input and what's important to us. And so I don't think you have that relationship. I know you don't with other manufacturers. With Lennox, we have that and we rely on it.
It's about people and relationships, and that's where we have the trust. And I know that they're going to always do the right thing. I know they're going to stand behind the products. They're going to stand behind dealers like ourselves, and they're going to continue to do what they need to do to be number one in the industry.
We know that Lennox is very choosy with who they pick for dealers, and that not everybody can be a Lennox dealer. So we take great pride in that, and I really believe that that helps us with our sales, with our communication with our homeowners, and that trust continues right on through us into the home.
Today, Lennox is still shaped by the values instilled by Dave and D.W. Norris 125 years ago. Combined with a culture of integrity, respect, and excellence is a corresponding commitment to our customers with the promise of trust, quality, and innovation.
Innovation has been in our DNA all the way back to Dave Lennox. And we push the envelope pretty hard on innovation in equipment. But I think we're also working on the other side, innovation outside of equipment in terms of business processes, go-to-market strategies, distribution, building out parts and supplies. This DNA that once was the foreground of all about equipment today is pretty much through the whole business and the company. And I think we think of ourselves as innovators, and we want to bring innovation to everything that we do.
The things that excite me most are to continue to address the issues that matter most to our customers. Energy efficiency, indoor air quality, digitization of our product, investments we're making in technology to make the user interface easier, whether it's commercial or whether residential. All those things are all around the people. So it's continuing to build a team of people throughout the organization who are excited to work here, who take care of our customers every day and look to innovate and grow the business.
We have the best product line in our markets, and we never stop innovating, and we never stop focusing on quality. We're able to build over 10,000 configurations per year and deliver those configurations with the shortest lead times in the industry because of our factory direct model. We are number one with national accounts, which gives us leverage and gives us scale to continue to grow and stay ahead of the competition.
So I think going forward, it will be an interesting time period, because what we're going to see is this, call it a digital revolution that we're going through today. I think the products will change dramatically. You're still going to need something that heats and cools, but the sophistication level of the product will change as technology just moves rapidly.
Overcoming obstacles and emerging even stronger is all part of the journey in building a world-class global company. Lennox entered World War II as a Midwestern furnace company and emerged to innovate and grow over the next 75 years into the global leader for the HVACR industry, making the most efficient products on the planet. Lennox continues to not only survive, but thrive through economic downturns, market disruptions, and even a devastating tornado that severely damaged the birthplace of Lennox.
There's daylight. The roof is gone.
Our facility in Marshalltown, Iowa.
Until the pandemic, we thought that that was probably one of the worst things that we were going to have to go through, but it was tough. Because of the relationship with Lennox, we were given information and updated almost daily as to what was available, the progress in Marshalltown, and how they were doing on the rebuilding process. Lennox did a tremendous job.
It was amazing how everybody came together, their staff, their folks. Communication was great. It was challenging, no doubt, but what was accomplished within a very short period of time is amazing.
Regardless of the challenge, the people of Lennox are used to rising to the occasion and will continue to do so in the future.
I feel really blessed to have been with Lennox in a period of time when, frankly, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have moved from where they had been to where they are now, and it's very, very exciting.
We'll never stop innovating, and we've got the right team in place to go out and hunt and continue to grow as an organization. Over the next 3 years, we're going to revamp the product line. We call it the Rooftop Revolution. as we continue to make the investments behind the advantages that we already have in our market.
When I look back at what we've done at Lennox, the investments we've made, the initiatives that we launched that have changed the trajectory of the company. Whether that's adding our footprint in India with our Lennox India Technology Center, whether it's all the investments that we've made in our distribution strategies by building out the Lennox stores, whether it's all the investments we've made at PD&R in digitization and new technologies, whether it's our Mexico facility and investments we've made in building in Mexico. Every one of those initiatives, all I see are faces. I see the people who made it happen.
It's a company that stands for quality. It stands for innovation. It's an exciting place to be because they are on the cutting edge of doing things. The bond between our customers and our dealers and our manufacturing people is great. They're doing it all right. There's not much left to improve except to do it all better. Never be satisfied.
I think it's an amazing story. Dave Lennox started this company. The Norris family bought it. It stayed in the Norris family up until 1999. And then from the day we went public to now, how we've transformed. It's been remarkable. We've got a lot of the values of a private family and a lot of the culture of how to run a public company. And we've meshed the two together and we've done a pretty nice job of it.
Ask the natural question of what's next. What do we do as the next encore act at Lennox International? I can't think of any time in the history of the company that's more exciting to be part of Lennox than it is today. When I think about the major issues that are facing our world, whether it's global climate change, whether it's now indoor air quality in the face of a pandemic, whether it's leveraging technology to improve the user interface and make life easier for all of us, we're on the forefront of all those issues to address the needs of the next 125 years. And so I would tell everybody, buckle up. The next decade is going to be just as exciting as the prior 125 years.